I'm Leo McClellan, and I'm the Vice President of Farm Operations here at M&B Dairy. Our daily routine starts around 5:30. We start milking the cows and we feed them, and we actually milk the cows 3 times a day. So shifts consist of 6, 2, and 10 p.m. And every day we feed our cows and we milk our cows, and we also usually have a crop growing. We try to have one growing constantly to uptake the nutrient out of our wastewater. So we are growing some kind of crop pretty much every day as well. Cows need a healthy diet. We put a lot of effort in ensuring that they do have a healthy diet and it's consistent. So each cow eats about 100 pounds a day of food, and that consists of corn silage, which is a silage that we grow in the field with our wastewater. We also feed what they call whole cotton cake, which is a byproduct from the cotton industry. We feed dried citrus pellets, which is another byproduct. And we feed corn, and we feed some soybean premix. And the cows here at M&B, we obviously don't feed them individually, we feed them together. So what we'll do is we'll mix all the ingredients together in a big mixer wagon, and we'll put it out for the feed the cows, and we feed them 3 times a day. At M&B, cow comfort is very important, so we really focus on that. And we have 3 water troughs in each pen to ensure there's ample room and ample water for the cows, fresh water for the cows, because you know a cow will drink 50 gallons a day of water. Our cows live in freestall barns, and to ensure that they're clean, we flush them 3 times a day. So when we milk them 3 times a day, we're actually cleaning their pens and flushing them. And the flush water actually creates wastewater. When it gets down to the end of the barn, it goes into a collection basin, to the sand lane, over to the solid separator, and into the ponds, the settling ponds. Well, we recycle all the products, and it starts out with wastewater, and it gets the sand out, it gets the solids out, and sand is cleaned and processed for the cows to lay on, and the water actually goes into the pond for irrigation to grow our crops. So we try to be very self-sustaining, and that's the reason why we separate the sand out of the water to reuse it for the bedding, and that's the reason why we have the fans and the misters to keep them comfortable. So we have 3 products whenever we flush. Start out with clean water, and then you have the solids that you can sell, and you have the sand that you can bed the cows on and give them a very comfortable environment to sleep on. So we milk Holstein cows here at M&B Dairy. We milk 675 plus or minus, and we milk them 3 times a day. Each cow is averaging 85 pounds per day right now of milk. We have a double 12 herringbone parlor, so they come in. We check them, make sure they don't have mastitis, put iodine on them to kill the bacteria, and then wipe that off and hang the machines. And each cow produces, especially a heavy producing cow, you need to milk them 3 times a day. It relieves the pressure. The machine is basically 4 inflations. It does have some vacuum on it to pull the milk out, and it does pulsate as well to squeeze the teat to get the milk out. It has an automatic sensor on it, so when the cow's finished milking, it automatically comes off so you don't over milk or under milk a cow, because that's very important. You don't want to do either or. And I have 2 people milking, 2 employees milking in the milking parlor at all times, and we do milk 144 cows an hour out of there. So the cows, they're creature of habits. Okay, so they want to do the same thing every day. They want to see the same people. So it's important to us that we have the same employees in there milking the cows. You could actually see them come in the same group every day. You definitely want to keep the same people in the parlor. So we're milking 144 cows an hour out of that milking parlor. So it realistically only takes 4 to 5 minutes to milk each cow each day. So we milk them 3 times a day. So realistically, a cow is only in the milking parlor 15 minutes a day, and they spend the other 23 hours and 45 minutes eating and sleeping and resting. So a cow, as soon as she has her calf, we start milking her, day 1. And they usually go through a cycle of about a 2-month window where they clean out, and then we start breeding them again. And once they're 7 months pregnant, then we'll dry them off, because they have a 9-month gestation. Every cow has a 9-month gestation. And we'll dry them off so they can go out in the field for 2 months and rest and relax and have a vacation, so to speak. And the milk that we produce from our cows go to our processing plant in Tampa. We have a truck that comes every 24 hours to pick up a load.
Hi, I'm Andrea McClellan and I'm the General Manager of M&B Products. I am involved in a little bit of everything that goes on here, but mostly I work in the office. I handle our day-to-day office tasks. I deal with our customers on a day-to-day basis. I fill out the bids for the school systems to be able to get new customers. I visit customers, and I'm also involved in our local route distribution and even in our packaging. So M&B Products receives in raw goods, either milk, juice, water, or raw packaging materials. We process them and package them and distribute. Raw milk arrives at M&B in a tanker. Before it is unloaded, we test it for quality standards. Then it is unloaded, pasteurized, packaged, and distributed to the end user. So like I said, milk is received in raw from a dairy farm, usually within 24 hours of being milked from a cow. It's tested for quality standards to make sure there are absolutely no antibiotics in the milk, to make sure that there's nothing added to the milk. It's tested. Once it passes all validation, it gets unloaded. Immediately after unloading, we separate the milk through a separator. That's a big centrifuge. What it does is it spins the milk and separates the cream from the skim. Then we blend it back to the proper percentage. So if it's fat-free milk, it's 0.5 or less. If it's 1% milk, it's 1% fat, and so on and so forth. At that time, we also can add flavorings and sweetener if we want the end product to be chocolate or strawberry or any other type of milk that we choose. That all happens on the raw side. Then it goes through a pasteurization process. All milk intended for human consumption has to be pasteurized. We do HTST pasteurization, which is high temperature, short time. So we heat the milk up really hot for a short amount of time and then we cool it back down. What that does is it kills any potential bacteria, any pathogens that could be in the milk that could make it have a short shelf life or unsafe for human consumption. It kind of just cleans the milk for us. Then it's ready for packaging. But before we can package, we have to get a few things ready. We have to get the case that it's going to be delivered in ready. So M&B packages in a very different case than traditional milk packagers. We package in a recyclable corrugated tray. It's a one-time use, so it's very clean, it's very sanitary, it is very environmentally friendly because it is recyclable and made out of a renewable resource. So there are numerous safety factors and measures that we take here at M&B. One is during the pasteurization process through the plates. We ensure that the pasteurized pressure is higher than the raw pressure to just make sure that if there were any breaches in the plates, there's absolutely no contamination possible. So one of the final checks is a sample goes up to the lab, a pasteurized sample. This goes up to the lab and gets tested for several different things. The butter fat, cryoscope, which tests for the water content, make sure there's no added water. The butterfat taste, the butterfat percentage in the finished product. We also test for solids, certain things to make sure that it's ready and meets all standards to be able to be packaged for human consumption. Once it passes all validations and all controls, it's ready to be packaged. The machine operator chooses the proper tank to pull out of to package the machine. They load the cartons into the machine and begins the process of packaging the product. But before it's actually put into the caser, the product is again, once it's in the package, taken up to the lab to make sure that it passes flavor testing before we put it into the first case. Once the milk is cased, it again goes through some more checks and balances. We make sure that every carton has a date code, has a timestamp on it. We also make sure that every case is coded with certain information to allow us to have some good traceability in case there was ever a quality concern with the product. So once the product is put into a case, it is conveyed to the stacking area where it's stacked onto a pallet. The pallet is then wrapped. It is given an identity code, a license plate for instance, and then that whole pallet is able to be tracked into our cooling system so that when it's loaded on a truck to be delivered to a school tomorrow, we know exactly what pallet was put on what truck and delivered to what group of schools. So there's inventory control all throughout our entire process. So we try to run as quickly and efficiently as possible. By the time a tanker gets here, it could at the most be 24 hours old from leaving from a dairy farm. We start unloading it immediately, we package it that day, and it can go out on a truck as soon as that evening to be delivered the next day. So typically students are receiving milk that's only 3 or 4 days from being out of the cow. It is always our goal to put fresh milk in front of kids so that they have the best quality product possible, so they're enjoying those 9 essential minerals and nutrients that are in every 8 ounces of milk.